Hello. All right, welcome back to the studio. So tonight I'm going to once again paint some coneflowers. I don't know why. I've got this weird kind of fascination with coneflowers. I think they look great. They've got the nice long petals, a nice round ball in the center there. I don't know what it is about them, but I really kind of like them. So I was going to paint a few more tonight. I've kind of drawn them on here real lightly, and I thought we would just go through and paint a couple of coneflowers here. So I hope you can see my palette over here. I'm going to mix up some real light red. I know in the picture they're a little bit more pink. Mine are going to be just a little bit more red, and that's okay. However we get these on here, I just want to start out by getting a little bit of color on our petals here. And coneflowers have this really nice long petal, a little fatter in the middle. They come together a little bit in the center, and then they come down to a nice point, or close to a point, right at the end. And so I'm hoping to paint some nice leaves here, some nice petals, some nice easy petals. What I'm going to try to do is just get a nice little base of color on these, and then I'm going to go back in and put on a little shadowing on these. So we'll hopefully be able to see kind of a nice, just a little bit of a roundness to these petals. Hopefully they don't come out flat, and we'll see how it goes. And then we'll put on a nice background behind them. We'll have a nice little picture when we're done with this. One you'll be able, certainly be able to copy, certainly be able to do on your own. There we go. And if these petals don't come out exactly right, it's not a big deal. Nature doesn't make everything perfect. Nature just gets them on there. It's our eyes, our belief in the way things look that make them look exactly the way they do. There we go. I just want to get some color down here. First of all, there we go. Now in real life, these ones in the back here, these petals may not stick up quite as much as these do. That's fine. We're not painting a real world flower. We're painting somewhat an imaginary flower, but based on what we see in the real world. I've got to just turn this a little bit. There we go. That one might have run a little bit long, but you know, in the end, when somebody looks at this painting, they're not going to look at that and say, oh, that's not right, that went too long. They'll look at this and go, wow, that looks great. And that's really what we want them to see and to say. Alright, so I've got my basic petals on there. I'm just going to get a little bit of this green going here. And I'm going to put a little bit of ochre in it. I might come back and color these stems a little different a little bit later on, but I'm going to try to just sneak in here. See, I'll go right through there. A little bit of the stem. I don't want... That one's a little straight. Maybe I can kind of fudge a little curve on it. There we go. And this one right on down over there. I want them to overlap just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to adjust that color just a little bit, and just like with the petals, I just want to drop some color on here. We're going to come back and really adjust these later. but we do need to have a little bit of color on there right now. And you can see I'm putting these on, and I'm not trying to put on any too specific a shape. I just want to get them on there. I am going to hold off on the center of these just a little bit. I don't want to put those on. Those are going to be a little bit darker, and so I want those to, I want to paint that last, so if I have to paint on top of something else, I'll be able to, and we'll be good with it. So I'm just looking. Some of these are a little dry, some of them are a little bit wet still, but I want to keep my same paint that I have over here. Okay, the same richness and intensity, and I'm going to try this and let's see how it goes. I do have a smaller brush now. I just want to paint a little bit around just like that. There we go. I'm just going to mist that center a little bit and maybe just touch a bit out at the end. And I don't know if you can see, let me zoom in, just doing that little bit here makes them look more, a little bit rounded, and it's going to look even more so when we put a background on here. So just going to drop in a little bit of color on the bottom side of some of these, right, just like that. I'm not one that tries to get everything perfect. Okay, so if you're watching the video thinking, oh, he's going to paint a perfect flower, it's going to look great, you do it specifically this way. That's not me. I can't do that. How I paint is just kind of, I want to get the general feeling of this flower. I can't do this one quite yet. This one is still wet. I want to get the emphasis, the essence of what this flower is. I don't want to paint an exact replica of this flower. So some of these now, I'm going to go in, so the bigger ones anyways, and just put in a center line. It doesn't even have to be in the center. Actually, I don't know, I might not even, that's probably more than I needed to do right there. Probably only needed to do it on one of these over here, but just where there's a little center line, I want to get something in there. And I'm going to come back to my green. I'm going to dull it down with a little bit of brown. The stems of these are actually kind of reddish. My brown has a little bit of red in it here. You can see it's a really warm color brown. So I'm going to look and I'm going to say that my shadow is on this side. I'm going to put a little bit of something on these leaves, just about like that. Alright, let's see what we got back in here. I know I've twisted it to the side, made it hard for you to see again. I don't really mean to do that, it just works out that way. Being right-handed, it totally is easier for me to turn the paper that way. There we go. I actually like that. I might come back in and put a little bit more on these petals, but they're nice and soft petals. I kind of like that. As long as I leave a nice light background. In fact, I'm going to let this dry like this. I think we'll go back over and give that a little bit more in a little bit. I'm still not quite dry here. I'm still not quite dry anywhere. So let me pause for a moment, and that might help. Zoom. Okay, I'm not dry here still, so I can't put a second coat on these. The second coat on these up here hasn't dried, so let me give it a quick blow dry, and I'm going to come right back. So let me put you on pause. Okay, I got a quick dry on these, and I can see these ones up here. I definitely want to put a little bit more color on. They dried a little bit lighter than I thought, and I'll darken these to the same amount. So let's just go ahead and do that. Alright, let's see. Right here. Here we go. Okay, I'm turning it upside down just to make it a little easier to paint. I never learned, being self-taught, to paint from only one direction. So it's a little hard for me sometimes to paint in some directions. This has always been a little bit easier. There we go. I think I like that. Alright, let's see if I can do that. If I replicate that, maybe I'll make this color a little stronger. Can you see my palette? No. See, I can make this a little stronger. Maybe I can do this in one level. One coat maybe. Let's see. The problem with doing that is that then the difference between my darks and my lights could get to be too much. So it really is a better idea, if this one went in 2 layers, to really do this one in 2 layers. But we'll see if we can't kind of fudge it a little bit here. There we go. Well, that's not too bad. It's a little bit lighter than I wanted to have it up there, but it's not bad at all. Alright, I'm going to take a little bit of lemon yellow and mix with my sap green. I want a lighter kind of a green here. Come on, yellow. That's not so bad. And I just want to dab in some color. You can see, maybe you can't see, it's not really heavy. I'm just filling in a couple of areas here when I do this. There we go. I just want to strengthen those a little bit, and I definitely want to strengthen my stems, especially down here. I've lost out on those, so I'm going to pull down with this. There we go, on that side. That comes through there somehow. There we go. Something like that. Good, we can see that much better down here now. Alright, I'm going to keep with that same color, and I'm going to put on, I don't know what these things, what these balls are called. I'm trying to figure out which brush to use off to the side here. That's why I'm stalling a little bit. Just going to mix up my brown color here, and I don't want it totally this color brown. I'm going to lighten it with a little bit of this ochre. That's better. I think that's a little better color for me. And again, I'm turning upside down. And I did tell you that we might cover some of this up And we might, our red that has gotten a little bit out of control, I'm just getting a touch of color on there, and I want to see how it looks. And I already know I've got it too wet at the moment, but I definitely want to make this darker. If we look at our picture, we can see this down here underneath is way darker than we have up here. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to mix onto my palette, oh, too much. And I'm going to make something that's quite a bit darker for us. I think that's a good color. Right here, if you can see, it's just got a touch of red in it. It's still got all of our other colors. I'm going to dry that just ever so slightly. Okay, I don't want it totally dry because I want to drop this in and have it run a little bit. There we go. If I totally dry it out, I won't get that. I won't get that natural effect on there. And it was just a little too wet for me before. There we go. I think that's a lot better. I'm going to drop a bit more color down here and let that get quite a bit darker down there. I might even let that dry this way up just a little bit. I'm actually going to put an eraser under there, which for me is just enough. And I'm going to pause you. I'm going to let this dry and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We're all dried up here, and as you can see, we kind of dried a little lighter than we were before. Not a big deal. I've still got a little bit of our color here. I'm just going to go back in, put a little bit of this color right around the edge. Just like that. I'm going to do it on all of these. I'm going to do it on all three of these. There we go. This one too. Just going to darken that up for us a little bit. And like I promised you before, it's just going to cover any mistakes we've made on those. I think I'm going to leave these. I might just pull this back just the tiniest little bit to get rid of a hard edge. Again, if you've seen me do this before, it's just almost no water on there. In fact, I'm just tapping a damp rag, coming right back. I'm not actually going to any water. I think that's fantastic right there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is put on our background. I think we're going to start with a little bit more blue up at the top, up here a little bit, and as we move down this way, we're probably going to bring in a little bit more red, maybe, I don't know, not exactly sure, but let's see what we can do here. So I'm going to start with a little mix of my cerulean blue and ultramarine. I might have got a little too much cerulean, that's fine. There we go. I'm going to start with that up in this corner. Just there's two colors are going to mix as we go through here. Well, I got a little bleed in there. I'm good with that. Sometimes that makes your painting a little bit more interesting as you're going along. I'm going to mix in just a bit of green as I go down. The green, mixing the green in, of course, helps our red petals stand out just a little bit more. So the green is good for us. We want to put some of that green on there, but by the time we get down here to the bottom, we want some of that green to have changed into something else. Maybe not quite so green. We look at the color wheel. The opposite of green is more red down here, so we're going to try to transition into something a little bit more red down there. Maybe we'll leave it with a little purple since we've already got blue here. I don't want to change things up too much. Just a little bit. Let's see, here we go. And of course, changing these colors as we go along through here. This background is going to be harder to paint than the flowers were. But changing the colors on this background can keep this painting alive right through here. I might have gotten this a bit darker than I wanted. So I gotta take that, I got a little bit on that petal. I want a darker color, but I don't want a more intense hue, if that makes any sense to you at all. I'm gonna take this edge out a little bit over here before it gets too hard. Do the same thing on this side and just let that bleed out how it wants to. There we go. If I have to dab off a little bit up there, that's fine. Good, 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 good. Looking better. There we go. A little bit of extra green here. Good green. Alright, opposite green on the color wheel. We've got to move into some reds in here somewhere. I think I'm going to move. Let's see if I can do this. Here we've already got some reds. Let's see, I'll change into a little bit of a brownish color here. That's too quick of a change. Pull this all down. Continue with some blue up here. I tried to change that too quickly, and I changed my, actually I'm going to take a whole bunch of that off. I changed my color tone too fast, too much. I need to get back to my greens in here. There we go. Thankfully, just like that, we can usually save it. Not a big deal, and we'll just change that color a little further on down. Maybe we should just leave it blue, change it back to this blue color as we go down. That might be better. So you can obviously tell I've got this all planned out as I'm painting it. I have none of this planned out. Hoping that it works as we go along. I think we're on the right track now. We just need to move this and just paint everything that's not these petals. You can leave some white space in there. Perfectly fine. What it means is that you've just got to highlight. That's exactly what it means. And you know who controls the highlights you put in? You do. So if you want to highlight in there, just drop it in. If you don't, that's good too. You could paint right up to the edge if you want. You can paint just over the edge if you really want to. Nobody will know you weren't supposed to. And when you tell them it came out exactly like you wanted, everybody will still say it looks great. Let's see, I want a little bit more of that ultramarine. Just make this seem like it's a bit darker down here. Oh, here we go. I know. Hurry it up. Finish it up. Let's see what it looks like. We'll get there. There we go. I think that's pretty good. I like the way it turned out. I do think the background looks alive on here. It's definitely something going on behind these, but these are definitely the focal point. I can't quite sign this yet because it's still just a little damp, so I'm not going to do that. But that's it. My painting of some coneflowers. I love the way this turned out. I think this looks great. I hope you enjoy it too. If you liked the video, give a like and subscribe to my channel. I would love to see you back here in the studio with me again. Share the video with your friends if you like. If you want to try the painting, post in the comments. Let me know how it goes, or put a picture in there. I would love to see it. And I will see you again next time. Thank you so much.